The breakup of Antarctica's ice shelves, like Larsen C, pictured here in mid-2017 might be heralded by the emergence and uptick in so-called ice quakes, picked up by seismometers. NASA Goddard From its hidden meteorite collections to ancient geological graveyards concealed beneath the surface, scientists are breaking remarkable new ground almost every month when it comes to Antarctica, arguably the most alien place on the planet. Now, a new study led by the University of Chicago has revealed another of its curious quirks. Not only is the McMurdo ice shelf subject to some serious trembling, but these shakes follow a daily cycle. During the day, things are fairly quiet, but at night, the rumbles emerge. The team suspect that it's all down to the way the shelf's ice is responding to the changing surface temperature. As sunlight hits the ice during the austral summer, it thaws a little. At night, the ponds of semi-melted ice become decidedly chilled. This causes the thin ice cap at the surface to contract. At the same time, the pools of water beneath this upper, rigid veneer expand as they freeze. Eventually, the expanding ice deforms the icy cap to such a point that it violently snaps, something that's detectable by seismometers. Referring to these events as ice quakes, the team explained that they have recorded hundreds of thousands of them each night as the sun goes into hiding. Glaciologists and climatologists already keep a very close eye on the complicated behavior of the continent's ginormous ice sheet and its seaward ice shelves through a variety of methods. Every little helps though, and seismometers picking up on ice quakes could provide an additional way for scientists to remotely observe the ice as it continues to respond to our ever-warming world. Ice shelves do not directly contribute to sea level rise when they break up, but as they hold back landlocked ice, their destruction essentially opens the floodgates. NASA Goddard. The icy continent's enigmatic earthquakes have begun to come under far closer scientific scrutiny as of late. East Antarctica, for example, was long assumed to be lacking in earthquakes, strange, considering that it's undergoing prolonged extension by tectonic forces, which should be activating plenty of faults. As it happens, research released last summer found that the apparent aseismicity was down to a data bias. There simply weren't enough seismic stations on Antarctica before 2007, and when they were set up, dozens of quakes were detected. Ice quakes are not exactly a new idea, but as before, little was known about their presence and triggering mechanisms simply because we didn't have the instrumentation in place. Seismometers may have once again come to a rescue, but this time around, they aren't picking up on bona fide tectonic tremblers. Ice quakes, despite the name, aren't really earthquakes. They might be releasing seismic waves that can be picked up by seismometers, but make no mistake, there are no tectonic forces at work here causing ice to snap on this scale. In fact, these ice quakes are perhaps more related to those frost quakes, or cryoseisms, that were being picked up in Chicago during the recent onslaught of the polar vortex. As wet soil freezes over, the water within it expands and, coming up against the earth around it, can suddenly snap, creating very localized tremors. Antarctica's ice quakes are a little different to this. They are still meteorologically driven, but there's no soil involved here, just different layers of ice near or at the surface. Regardless, you could consider ice quakes the cryospheric cousins to those frost quakes. So why should we care about them? Writing in a December 2018 issue of the Annals of Glaciology, the team note that ice shelves, which are attached to the continent but float on the ocean, have suddenly disintegrated in the recent past. The dramatic 2002 breakup of the Larsen B ice shelf is given as a prime example of this. One mechanism in which mechanical instabilities are introduced into ice shelves is via the nighttime expansion of near-surface ice as it recovers from the comparatively scorching daytime environment. The team argue that by understanding this process, and by quantifying how often it's happening, our overall comprehension of ice shelf destruction will be enhanced. To wit, the researchers set up a seismometer array on the McMurdo ice shelf in Antarctica during a recent summer, from November 2016 to January 2017. Near a slush-filled, prone to melting part of the shelf, they detected millions of small ice quakes during that time. The fact that these quakes only seemed to take place during a 6 to 12-hour period in the evening, and that they didn't take place in areas of dry ice, betrayed their origin. The interaction of multiple ice layers during a diurnal thaw-freezing cycle was the only sensible explanation here. A simple computer model, which simulated the daily transfer of heat to and from the surface ice, confirmed their suspicions. Although the team only looked at McMurdo, they suspect that this thermally regulated shaking may be present on all ice shelves that are melting at the surface. That suggests that seismometers may be pretty good at tracking the gradual annihilation of these shelves, with the emergence in any uptick in the frequency of ice quakes revealing an increased vulnerability to climate change.